Hello, welcome back.
Let's go.
And we've got my crafting partner or artist partner, Bridget, sitting across the way from me. I'm actually at our granddaughter's crafting table.
That's right.
So away from my normal area. So today, so apparently now I've generated 3 spaces to work. I have where I do my cycling art. I have my big studio where I do the stained glass and the big paintings. And now I've stole my granddaughter's workspace since she's not here. And
It's only time that this one's gone.
and I get to work on the Christmas card. So every year, starting way back when,
In 1989.
there you go, with this is the first piece. And this one I actually laid the paper on and ran a wooden spoon across the back. So it's not a perfect print, but it's a lovely, lovely image. So since 89, what is that? 33 years I've been doing these Christmas cards. This is last year's card. So they're all Linocuts or linoleum, whichever phrase you want to use. And every year I try to tie them to an event in our lives. So in this case, it's our 2 granddaughters. This is Alistair, whose workspace I'm at, and our other granddaughter, Ivy, holding the Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And so the process is, of course, come up with the original image. And this year, I was including both of our granddaughters, the idea of peace on earth, which Lord knows we need, and also, to be a little political, the power of women. So as I worked with the circle and the power of my granddaughters as the earth, I realized that working the symbol for women into it would just be that much more poignant, powerful.
Some people will know, get it, and some won't.
Yeah. Many won't see, many will just see the world and a cross and peace on earth. Now, one of the things you have to remember when you're praying, and I've made this mistake in the past, as you can see that peace on earth is written backwards here.
He's done it many times in the past.
So I do have my technical advisor with me, the YouTube specialist, at least the YouTube watcher specialist. So I'm just taking out the tools for cutting now. So the idea is, so there's several ways to transfer. So I've created, got my rough sketch, finessed my image on the board. Now there's several ways. You can draw a complete image, use carbon paper and transfer it. Then if you're worried about your reversals, you can draw your image. Like if I took this image, put a piece of carbon paper down, flip the thing upside down, and then traced it, you would get that. Because when you print this, you're going to print it the opposite way. This is your space. This is your printing surface, and it will be reversed when it goes onto the paper. So you have to always bear that in mind. The next step now in my case, I simply drew it on here. First, I did it in pencil so I can make manipulations. And then I took a Sharpie, same Sharpie as I used for the cycling art, and decided what was going to be black and what was going to be white. So all these squiggly lines are going to be solid black. Here's the next part. So you cut away the linoleum that you want to be white, and you leave what you want to be black. So like, here's a wing here, here's a wing here. So all these black lines will be the linoleum left behind. And when you carve, you get these little leftover bits. You can drive yourself crazy trying to get rid of them, or you can kind of celebrate them because it shows the media for what it is. If you were doing like a digital version of this, you wouldn't have those. So this is the carving tool, the handle. And then I've got several different blades here. And I like to start with the sharp V, because the sharp V will give you a clean line. And then I'll use these more hollowed out ones to get out large areas, and the sharp V for getting out more detailed areas. So you just open it up. It's just like if you've ever used an X-Acto knife, the number 11 X-Acto knives. So you can set that in and then you tighten it down. And now you're ready to go. Here's a little hack. I've got my portable heater just off camera. So as I get ready to do this, I'm going to set this on the heater for a minute and let that linoleum heat up, so that it'll be easier to carve. Not essential, but if your house is cold or you're working on a cold winter day, it helps. It's easier to carve.
A big old drafty for your house.
And if you have a lot to cut, or you just want to make your life easier, softening it up a little bit, because there's a lot of cutting coming. So you can see I've just let that was my chance to have a cup of coffee too. Now I can pick it back up. It's just been warmed enough. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's been warmed a little bit. And so now to start cutting away. And like I said, we're going to cut away everything that's going to be white. And it's just a slow, laborious process. That's what I was going to say. If it's warm, it cuts easier, and you're less apt to slip and cut yourself. And also, if you slip, there's one warning here. If you make a mistake, it's a permanent mistake. Just like watercolors, there's no coming back. So you have to go, how can I make that mistake not look like a mistake? So maybe I will get to show you that at some point. Hopefully not. So this is just the process. I'm going to go around and cut out everything. So for your sake and mine, I'm going to switch to time lapse as I continue to work on this thing. But you get the idea now. It's just it's a long, laborious process.
It's so much fun.
Oh, it is fun. I do enjoy doing it. You know, 3 hand cramps later. So that's just it. So I'm going to switch to the time lapse. I am going to remind you now, obviously, if you like what you're seeing, please give it a subscribe so you can see this through the process. I will take you all the way through this process, even when I go to the printing studio and pull the prints. So I encourage you to subscribe. That way you'll get to see the posts. You'll know when the next one comes up. Please give it a thumbs up. That helps me. That helps you, because then you'll know where it is. And also, of course, if you don't like it, then don't give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I'm man enough to be able to take a thumbs down. I hear that actually with YouTube, a thumbs down counts even higher than a thumbs up in the algorithms. I don't know if that's true. So if you don't like it, tell me that you don't like it. Tell me why you don't like it. That's the important part. You have to say why, and you have to be constructive, not destructive. And then, obviously, and if you like what you see, I'd love to know that as well. Obviously, we all like to know that people like what we do. So I'll check back with you after I do some time lapse. So you may have noticed that I keep spinning it around, because that helps with the direction of the cutting and also keeping my fingers out of harm's way. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was part of the design concept. So you can see this sort of defined rectangle that's inside of the block. And if you've watched any of my oil stick paintings, you'll know that I tend not to work all the way to the edge. Plus, I don't want that hard, crisp edge at the end of the image. So these little pops out of the leaves and the angel's feathers, etc., give just a little more visual interest to the edge of the thing rather than having that hard square. And that's something I've done in my work my whole life. Well, not my whole life, because I've been making drawings since I was 2 or 3. Also, while I was working, I realized I probably did the very first Linocut. And there go the dog. When I was in like 6th grade. So what was that? Back in like 1969? Yeah, this is something that you do in school. Most art classes will have, and invariably some kid will slice their finger open. Not that adults don't slice their fingers open too. But
we have one in the room right now.
So yeah, I've been doing this a long time. So I just wanted to, stop the time-lapse video so to check back in a little bit of the design. And you can see that in this area, all the leaves are cut out. The black holly berries are left, but the holly leaves are cut away, but the stem is left. And that will give you this, how these leaves are. Of course, in this case, I did the berries white, but you can see the leaf pattern will be the same. And I've been using this holly leaf as a, yes, this is a Christmas card motif for a long time. All right, back to the
Cutting board.
drawing board. All right, we're back to the time lapse. All right, so I've now done all the edge. So I've got a lot more detail to cut inside, but I'm going to set that aside for a minute. So I'm going to switch, so I don't know how much you can see how sharp of a V that one is. Let's see how this is a, where did my hand go? There we go. See how much shallower of a
You cannot sit on my lap. Come on, baby bird.
V that is. So I'm going to switch to that blade so I can take out bigger cuts. The little, all the blades store back here, and that just, from all the twisting, just came out. So now I will simply start working around the sides to get out all of the stuff that I don't want to print. So when I was a kid, and they're still around, the Etch-a-Sketch, you turn the knobs back and forth and you made a line. And one of my favorite things to do was make a random pattern and then go circular in and in and in and tighter and tighter and tighter. And while I was cutting these, I was reminded of that, because this is kind of the same thing. You just round and round and round, following that shape and having it go out into a pattern. And how you cut these, any of this, it's kind of just like I've talked about in the watercolors, that your brush stroke, and even the oil stick paintings, your mark making should follow the direction of the shape you're creating. So in this case, I took him back downstairs. Oh well. I was going to show you in the original. Remember when I talked about those little zips, the little bits of black that were left behind. So I like, if those show up, which they invariably will, I like them to relate to the image. So I will, like the Etch-a-Sketch, all of these cuts will go this way. As I go across the top, they'll go that way, all the way around. And that just helps the image be that more, if I don't get it all cut away or cut deep enough, it will continue to inform the image, help the image be that much more interesting to look at. So the quotation marks mistake isn't really a mistake because it helps inform the image. The clever person sitting across the table from me once came up with the expression that making art was striving for imperfection. And it's absolutely true. You know,
But now don't quote me, but it could have been somebody else, and then I just remembered it.
nah, it was your quote. I've never heard anywhere else.
Because humans are beautifully imperfect.
Exactly. So, I will continue with my inexactitude.
And we're human too. I didn't mean to.
Clearly. So, I will continue cutting this again. I'll encourage you to leave a comment or a thumbs up, and of course to subscribe. Bridget has been talking about the idea of a giveaway. So over these next videos, anyone who comments or subscribes, although I can't figure out who subscribers are.
Oh, you have to, yeah. Well, so you'll know, you have to subscribe and leave a comment.
Yes.
And then whatever thumb up and down, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
And your comment, it's your comment, whatever you want it to be.
So if you leave a comment, you will be in a drawing, and I will ship you, 5 of you all, one of the Christmas cards. How's that sound? So please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, but a comment, that way I'll know your name, and then I will comment back, and we'll figure out a way for you to get.
And let me just add, it has, you need the subscription and the comment.
Yes.
And to, I think it's because so you can leave a message or something. Maybe not. I don't know. Is it snow? No, it's not snow.
But far too warm for snow.
But that's how when you do the random thing that YouTube has for everybody who does these giveaways. I think it has to be like that. There's a comment and you have to subscribe.
So did you hear that, Joe? Subscribe, leave a comment. 5 of you who do that will get one of these prints for this Christmas.
Or holiday, whatever holiday you like.
It'll be this image. You can make it whatever holiday card you celebrate. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. You can find all of my work at greigleach.com. If you stumble around on Mastodon, Twitter, Instagram, using my name, you will find me there as well. Thanks a lot.